Hey all, I help run a Buddhist nonprofit in the United States, and once a month we have a monthly gathering where we come together and talk about some topic, something interesting to the community. And today I gave a talk to them about AI. A lot of this is speaking to people who are almost entirely computer illiterate. They maybe use email and that's it. A lot of very skilled people in trades that don't rely on computers, but these are serious Buddhist practitioners, and they have families and they have jobs, and they put a lot of time and effort into their practice and understanding the mind. And it's important for our community there to understand what AI is, what it's all about. So I gave them a talk this evening. Starts from basic principles. I try to do a good job of explaining those complicated techniques in ways they could understand and make use of. So I thought you might also enjoy some of this. Maybe it'll be helpful for you or somebody in your life. All right, see you later. Okay, nice. Thanks for coming. This is exciting. I have a lot of notes. This is our monthly mindful gathering, and this one is on AI. I thought that might be fun to do. I should say why I might be an okay person to talk about this a little bit. So I work in software engineering and applied research. I am not a PhD, but I'm around a lot of them. A lot of them do AI stuff. So I'm around a lot of it and I use it. And, it's fun and terrifying. And I thought it would be fun to talk about it with our community here. And I was going to go through three areas, which is what in the world is AI? What does it mean? And what is it actually? What can we actually do with it? What can we use this for? And the third part being, how does this relate to our Buddhist practice? Or maybe how can we be at least conversationally aware of what this is so we can help folks, right? So I'm going to first show you some of what modern AI stuff is. So I don't know, of course, what y'all know yet. So maybe somebody's an expert. Maybe someone's, just getting going. So let me just show you some of these things. So I'll sort of share my screen here. So this is a website called thispersondoesnotexist.com. Every time you refresh this page, it makes a new face of somebody that doesn't exist. And they look like photos. They look like real photos. Once in a while, you can get a weird one. You don't get like three eyes anymore, but there's something going on here with the with her chin, if you can see closely. But these look, I'd say to me, photorealistic. If you had shown me this, I wouldn't have guessed this was a fake photo. And I'll show you another one which relates more to audio. So I'm just going to go to Wikipedia here, and I'm going to grab some text that I've never said. And there's a tool here. I can paste this in. This tool is familiar with what my voice sounds like, and it has trained itself on my voice. I wouldn't feel comfortable doing this with anybody else's voice, of course, but let's see if this is going to work for us. Let's see. Its wood is considered hardy, as it is resistant to decay and warping in a variety of temperatures and moisture levels. The most common use of white cedar wood is lumber, for which stands usually require 70 years of growth from germination to harvest. That sounds like me. I think that sounds like me. Here's another one. This is called Sora. So if we take this original idea that we can make a picture, then we can make a movie. Because a movie is just a bunch of pictures going by. So these are the samples that OpenAI, the place that makes ChatGPT, puts up as their examples. So how were these things made? These were made by typing in what kind of movie you would like. And it makes it. It looks real. It looks real. So this is what we're coming up against here, this kind of thing being around. So their example here up top is the text used to make these movies. Replace French doors with French doors. Turn the library into a spaceship. And then remove the spaceship at a jungle. Right now, it only does short videos, but that won't last. It'll be able to do long videos. And then there's the fire. I thought that looked quite real. And they can get abstract, like this one here. So when I was trying to understand what these things are, it took me a long time to actually learn that what is an AI model? Like, what is it? I hear that word a lot, model, AI. What is the thing? An AI model is a file, like a Word doc is a file or a picture is a file. An AI model, when it's done, is just a file. And if it's a big AI model, it's huge. It takes tons of room. And if it's a little one that can do a couple things, it's a small file. This is a website full of models that people can just download. It just keeps going. Now, if I pop over to Apple's website, Apple also has some models for you to download. And they make it look a little nicer. They give you pictures. They give you an idea of what these models do. So what this model does, apparently up top here, if you put in a picture to it, it tells you what it thinks is in the picture. And these numbers here are how confident it is what is in the picture. So it's 33% confident that there's a dome, and there's 38% confident that this might be a planetarium. If we go down a little bit, we could see some other kinds of things it can do. So this one purports to be able to find answers to questions about paragraphs of text. So this would be some kind of model that you can send in a picture, and if there's a paragraph, it'll figure out there's a paragraph, and then it'll figure out what the paragraph is, and then you can ask it questions, and it'll give you answers about what it thinks is in that paragraph. I want to give you just a small bit of numbers to show you what these things are. Because when I understood, okay, models are files, fine. I know what a Word doc file looks like. I open it in Word, and it's a lot of words and paragraphs and underlines and things like that. You can drag in a picture. But these are not like that. These files look like this. It is just numbers. It's nothing but numbers. So when we hear these terms, if you've heard these things like ChatGPT, Google Gemini, those kind of things, what those are a very large file that is just numbers. Nothing but huge matrices of numbers. And what happens in these things is matrix multiplication. You put in some words, your words get converted to numbers, the numbers get put into the model with matrix multiplication, and numbers come out, and it turns it back into words. I'm going to show you how we make one of these models if we wanted to. So I cannot draw very well, but we will deal with it. If you wanted to make a model that could do something like, we want to know if my dog is in a picture or not. The way you do that kind of thing, and you could do this on your home computer, is you get a folder and you get a second folder on your computer and you drop in tons of photos of your dog. Tons of photos. Tons. Oh, dog. And you get a second folder full of the equal amount of photos that don't have your dog. They can have anything else, but they can't have your dog. Not. And then you use software that we don't have to make. Somebody's already made it. And you point it at the folders. And you say, hey, this folder is full of pictures of my dog, and this one has no pictures of my dog. You figure it out. Figure out how to know if my dog is in a picture. I'm not going to give you anything else. I'm not going to give you numbers, math, anything about these pictures. That's all it does. And when it's done, it spits out a file. And there you have your model. It might not be good, but you can test it out. You show it a new photo that it's never seen before, and it'll tell you, just like up here, it would give you an answer saying, I'm 67% confident there's a dog in that picture. Or maybe I'm, 20% confident there is not a dog in that picture. I know that math doesn't add up. If you've heard the term training a model, that's what this is. Give something a lot of data, let the software chew on it, and then it spits out the file, and that's the model. This gets expensive and very big. So the really, really big models like this Google Gemini thing over here, it could take months. They feed it data, they hit go, and they wait a couple months while it's making the model and hope it doesn't crash. Because when it crashes, they've lost a couple $100,000 on running those computers nonstop for a couple months, hoping that their model file comes out right. And of course, this gets more sophisticated. There's parts during this when either a person or another computer program would say, hey, before you're done and you spit out this file, why don't you check yourself? Why don't you test if you really know how to know if my dog is there or not, and make some improvements in case you're not that good at it. The way you do that is you don't put all your pictures in at once. You save some over here. Test photos. Test photos. And the model would chew on these to try to figure out how to know if there's a dog. And then it would use the test photos and find out if it's right or not. Goes back and make adjustments until once again it spits out this file. So that right there, that's the basics of training these model files, which are the things which underlie these terms you might have been hearing. Google Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude. People don't hear Claude as much. Has anyone used any of these things before? Gemini or ChatGPT? They're not all equally good, but the way that these things work right now is you type in something just like you would with Google, and this little bit of software figures out what you've typed, what your intention is, and then sends that request to one of a whole bunch of models that it has in the backend. You might say, make me a picture of a dog with a unicorn horn, and it would send that one to a model that's good at making pictures. You might say, what's the best place to stay in Seoul, South Korea for 3 nights in August? And that would go to somewhere like Google and figure out and come back with those kind of things. And ChatGPT, this company, they have different ones. This is the kind of thing that makes pictures. So you can ask this thing, make an oil painting of a bear with a sword in medieval style. Okay, pretty good. There's another kind of model coming, which is like, this says, I can browse the web to help you gather research. That's not particularly different to me than what Google is like. You ask it a question, what are great, I'm going to South Korea in June, that's why Korea's on the mind. What are great places to visit in Andong, South Korea? I know I don't have any kind of pronunciation. It's really fast. That's like Google, but a little nicer, because at the moment I'm not getting ads. There's some totally understandable but common misunderstandings about these big AI things if you've used them. I've seen a couple of my friends saying these, and I wanted to at least give you all the information so you know. These models don't know anything. When you talk to when you type with ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, it feels like they know what they're talking about, but there's some really important aspects. They don't have any memory. They don't improve. Models don't get better. You'll hear that term being tossed around too, like, oh, the model will improve over time or it'll get better. This is totally false. Once you create a model like these that we've seen here, it is like baking a pie. The pie is done. And if someone said, oh, we should add strawberries to this, like bake the strawberries in, you have to make a whole new pie to get strawberries into your pie. You can't take the thing apart and stick them in. It doesn't work anymore. It's not a pie. So you can make a model and then later decide that you also want it to know when cats are in the picture. But the only way to do that is to add your cat data and remake the whole thing. There's no way to shove it onto what already exists. The model is fixed in place. Second, they have no ability to act. It's just a file. It has no intention, and it can't do anything. It can't take over your car. It can't change the flight of a plane. It can't take any kind of action. Could someone write software to hook a model up to something that takes action? Yes. But the model itself has no ability to do that. So no ability to act, no memory, no intention, and I will say no self-awareness. It is a matrix of numbers. Let me play you, if I may, this 3-minute conversation that Daniel Aitken has with Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche. If anyone doesn't know, Dzongsar Khyentse Rinpoche is fantastic. He's a current Buddhist teacher. His books are incredible. He puts a lot of talks on YouTube. I love listening to this person speak. Here we are.
The way technology is going with AI and virtual reality, do you have any thoughts on what it might look like in 10, 50 years?
I don't know so much about AI, but a little that I have heard about AI and all of that, it's very encouraging. This is the best news for Buddhism. AI, fantastic. I think, because finally we will be forced to think, what is vidya?
Yes.
I can't wait the AI to really come faster, because
Yes.
I think AI is probably it is the aspiration of the lot of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So to me, AI is like, wow, so good. Actually, again, the same guy I was listening to, Yuval Hariras, he was talking about, when there's too much AI and, technology, revolution, then there is a danger of the society, big chunk of society becoming useless. But suddenly now, you are not a nurse anymore. You are not a postman anymore. You are not even my job, Rinpoche's job, a machine will do. So who am I, right? This. Buddhism teaches you how to appreciate the uselessness. So important, I think.
Very nice,
So
Rinpoche.
not to be afraid of useless. I mean, actually, it's not even just Buddhism. Actually, some of the Eastern wisdom, like Taoism, there's like even the concept of Wu Wei or something like that, doing nothing. Wow. Now is the time to invoke all this, to appreciate, to live with being used. Because what is really ruining our life is really this notion of purpose of life. This idea of purpose of life have ruined us so much.
All right. Yes. Yeah, it's being used well and very poorly. Something these things are fantastic at that we are not very good at is you can put in millions and millions and millions and millions of numbers. Like you could gather, let's say you're a scientist and you've gathered temperature and wave height data at different GPS points around the globe for 10 years. That's going to be like if you open the Excel file, if you know what Excel is, that's just going to go on forever. And it's just numbers. These kind of things are really good at finding patterns in that. You input that kind of data and say, in October, the waves are always so much higher over here, where we would expect them to be 3 feet, they're 6 feet. What do you see that's causing this related to temperature? And it will find an answer. And then it's up to you, the scientist, to figure out if it's correct. But it can sift through all that data and find patterns. Something we all should be aware of. There's a lot of layoffs going on. And I don't know if anyone's applying to jobs at the moment, but sometimes you'll get rejected immediately. What's happening? Not a person. Something is looking at your resume, not finding a certain word it's supposed to find, and saying, thank you so much for applying. We don't have enough time for you right now. So these are AI rejections of people applying for jobs. That's bad. A worse one is sentencing guidelines. There's already examples of this kind of tool being used to recommend sentencing guidelines. So this is it is dangerous. It is a helpful and dangerous tool. Yeah. We've come to expect with movies, I think, that you can't know if something is real there. But these tools have let me understand now anything digital can be fake. My own voice can be fake, the video, right? So let me show you something. I mean, I'm not leaving my work. I'm still like in this world, but I have a flip phone now. So I'm a little bit switching to that. And what I've started doing is inviting people over to play board games. As one response to this, I'm like, community. We need more community and more people doing things in person where put the phones down, slide them to the side, and do something together in person. That part will be real. That part won't be AI. Well, thanks for joining. We are uniquely suited to help people as they deal with this crazy fear of what this thing is. And I hope now you have at least a conversational understanding of what it is. Ask me for any follow-up later. Reach out if you want any one-on-one time or, whatever you want to know. Let me know. If I can tell you, I will tell you. All right. Bye-bye.